Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MN Viking Zombie YouTube and Twitch channel. I almost said the movie review channel, but you do more than movie reviews, man. You do all kinds of things here.
Just a few game clips and stuff like that, but not too much as of late.
We don't want to sell you short, but there's a lot of cool stuff on this channel. This is Adam Carlson's channel. I'm joining him. My name's Kyle Smith, and we do some things on the internet together. And this is one of the more fun things that we kind of ventured into, horror movie reviews. And today I picked out a movie a couple years old called Funhouse. We're going to talk about it. How are you?
I had never heard of this until you posted it in our chat, and the concept sounded pretty cool. So I was like, okay, because I like some of that trash reality TV, the ones where people are voted out every week. I watch Big Brother on a regular basis, so I was like, okay, I can follow that. And then another one of my favorite movies that doesn't get enough love, I think, is House of Nine, which is kind of very similar to this one in a lot of ways. So to me, this was like a great suggestion for me.
Yeah, that's kind of why I threw it your way. I knew that you like Big Brother, and although I don't watch it, I understand, and it has a nostalgic feel for me. My mother obviously passed away. You know that. The guys on the football podcast know that. But she loved Survivor, and it kind of reminded me of her a little bit to give her so much crap for watching that show. And I was like, you know what? I'll give this one a whirl. At minimum, I was hoping for, and obviously we're going to dive into it, but at minimum, I was hoping for some cool death scenes. And yeah, let's just dive right into it. The plot of this movie here, and I'll read it to you from IMDb. It came out in 2019. It's on Hulu if you want to check it out yourself. 8 celebrities from around the globe are invited to compete in an online reality show where they soon realize they're playing for their very lives. Those that are voted off suffer horrific consequences, and it's all broadcast to the entire world. Now, there's a movie that I have seen that I know you've seen as well, because it has a former wrestler in it that has sort of the same feel, and that was The Condemned, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And for a low budget kind of predictable movie, I enjoyed that when I was younger. That reminded me instantly of that movie today, because it too was like a pay-per-view and these guys are killing each other, but this was on an island versus in a home. But nonetheless, this was an interesting concept.
Yeah, what was interesting though is the maniacal person, as we'll call them, was kind of the stereotypical rich, bored individual that just didn't quite know what to do with their life. And the opening itself set it up to where he was portrayed as this, I don't know if I can say monster, but a very cold individual. And he went about choosing these celebrities that had undergone just horrific falls from grace, and picked them to bring this into this house. They did so by putting a $5 million winning bounty on the person who leaves, and of course offering everybody who came in the house $100,000. So, I mean, that would be enough to get a lot of people in the door.
Would I like the concept too of not picking random people just off of various backgrounds, but rather celebrities, because instantly you'll either have a following or maybe a dislike there. I could see various people, if we were choosing real characters from the real world for something like this. Not a lot of people are going to like a Kim Kardashian type automatically, just because not a lot of women might like a certain UFC fighter, like we had a type in this movie. So that was a cool aspect of it too.
Or someone that has a gossip rig, or married into fame and stuff like that. The whole thing was set up in a way that it kind of held your hand at the beginning. And there was a Swedish man who was married to a pop star that started out as a background singer, and they kind of focused on him at the beginning, and that focus felt kind of disgenuine through the movie for a while, and then it took a turn. So I'm excited to talk about that part too. But man, there's a lot to unpack from the early parts of this movie.
For sure. I'll let you take over for that part. If you haven't seen the movie, obviously we're going to give away spoilers on this channel, but I will tell you, it does give you a diet, like Mortal Kombat-esque plethora of characters to choose from, because every one of them has like a quality you may like, and then definitely a quality you could be like, I'm not a fan of that. So you really get a buffet of options when it comes to characters here. Now, the interesting thing that you're talking about with the main character in this movie, which is in the movie called Casper Norden, this is by Walter, or it's Walter in his name, but it's Walter Skarsgård. This has got to be the younger brother of Bill. It's got to be. They look
Yeah,
similar
it's part
too.
of the Skarsgård family there.
Pretty cool. Bill Skarsgård, obviously, he's known for the reprise of It, and he's also in a really good movie that I like called The Devil All the Time on Netflix. If you guys haven't seen that, please check it out. It's got the new young Spider-Man in it too. Tom Holland, good movie. But yeah, he's the main character here. He's fit to be a main character. He looks the part. I think he did a fantastic job with his role. But yeah, like you said, there is some disingenuous kind of pushing of this whole narrative and where he came from. And I don't know. Overall, I felt bad for him, but I'll let you take over. Let's talk about what happened in the beginning.
Yeah, so past the initial scene where this woman is cutting out the heart of another woman for a little bit of cash on a tray. Once you get past that, they get into this concept of these people being drugged and brought into this house. Now they can't leave the house, and everything they do in there is being filmed and broadcast. And each of the characters, I'll say characters because they do each have their distinct roles and features that allow you to root for them or not root for them, like you said. And they quickly learn that, hey, it's free booze, it's good money, it's just getting voted out every week, and hey, we could use this $5 million to, start our new lives, and we can use this fame and popularity from this show if it catches on to maybe reboot our lives. And everybody in there is real excited about that opportunity, getting drunk, having fun, singing karaoke, all this kind of stuff, until the first vote happens. Then things go a little bit off the rails.
And you think about any kind of movie, if you put it in reality, if you were actually in the real life situation, like you said, there's so many benefits that come. This is 2019, so they're very much, this is a social media driven movie. So they've got all these influencers inside. They've got musicians, mixed martial artists, models, reporters. I use that loosely. And, they're all famous to some degree. They've been presented to the public on platforms. But like you said, yeah, at minimum, I walk away with $100,000, possibility of 5 million. Yes, sign me up, because they're obviously being led astray to the fact that, okay, but if you don't win, you die. And the thing that really stood out to me throughout the theme of the whole movie is the kills in this movie are brutal. They are very bad. And at minimum, and we won't spoil, don't jump ahead too far, but at a minimum, gunshots to the head. That's like the low end of everything. But there's some barbaric stuff. The scene that Adam talked about to start with was, and it's so weird because I've seen this in movies before. You have the rich, the upper echelon, the top 1% of the world. They've got their bodyguards. They're in their nice mansion. And you see a woman brutally beating to death another woman while she's alive with a baseball bat. And then she's begging for the guy, hey, let me go. This is what we agreed upon. And he goes, no, finish the job. So you see all these really gruesome ways for people to die. And that's what starts here when they are led to a room, which you can obviously tell that would probably throw out the first red flag, is like, we have to crawl through what seems like a small grate into a room that is just concrete walls and a TV screen / mirror. Like, probably not a good sign.
To be fair, Big Brother Australia is kind of like that.
Oh, no, really? I'm definitely interested. I'm more interested now. But yeah, they all gather. Brutal. And this is one thing we forgot to say was, the votes here. These are daily, I think, votes are every other day. So the person who has the least amount of votes gets voted off that day. If you're within 1% of the other person that's lowest, you guys will battle it out in a competition. And that's what happens the very first go round. A very, I don't want to say forgettable guy, but I'm trying to find his name on here. I can't remember. Nevin, played by Daley Nelson. Nevin Evan Smith, kind of a forgettable character, kind of a douchey guy. Not going to lie, his character is made that way. But they're going to.
So I got to ask you, did you stay till after the credits to see the extra Nevin scene?
Oh, I didn't. No.
It was his
Oh
agent
man.
asking about what was going on with him, and as soon as he got the news he was dead, he said, "Well, do we still get the 100 grand?"
That's so wrong. Yeah, this guy was complaining too. There's a booth for everyone to confess in the house too, and that's aired obviously 5 minutes a day. It's
Diary
raunchy.
room.
It's got all the things you love about reality TV on here. One of the hot chicks in the movie, she's like, "Oh, cool! I can remove the blurs and get more votes. I'm just gonna be naked all the time, and everybody's gonna vote for me," which happens.
See, she
Uh,
wasted that though, in my opinion. I mean, you could
correct.
lead people on with that and be able to
Hmm.
like trickle in votes every week, and it was just the way that she used that was not smart.
She used it too early. You're correct on
Yeah,
that.
way
That
too
she could have
early.
did a lot of like the tease part and got to the end like, hey, if you guys vote me to the end, I'll unblur
Do
everything. Blah
this
blah blah.
and
Yeah,
use it
right.
as a reward for votes rather than trying to fish for votes.
But yeah, like Adam said, the first when they first realized what's about to happen, it's insane. They're called upon to play a pinata game between the two lowest voted characters. A young female who is blindfolded. They drop a pinata down. The lights go out, and then you realize they've removed the pinata, and poor what's his name again? I've already forgotten. Nevin. Poor Nevin is tied with his hands above his head. His mouth is shut, and they
They
turn the
play the
the
loudest music possible so she can't hear anything, and it's
and they
just
give her a ball
oof.
bat from like The Walking Dead with the spikes on the end, and it's brutal. That'd be a terrible way to go, and she goes for it unknowingly. Um, yeah, that would be very terrible. That would be so mentally just
Well, she thought
if
she was
you're
trying
the
to get to
person.
a key in there to be able to hit a
Yeah,
button and then it would be his turn. But yeah, that's definitely not the case.
yeah, it starts off pretty brutal. The first two kills in the movie. I feel like we're doing dead meat now. Like the second kill comes at this minute.
Well,
I-
I don't think we should go through and like talk about each kill, but we
no,
should
not
talk
at
about
all.
some of the
But
more notable ones along the way because
for
as the
sure.
show goes on, of course, the contestants kind of trickle away. We learn a little bit more about each of their backgrounds through a flashback or two. We get some pictures of I don't know if it's the CIA that's trying to track them down or the FBI or what, but we get some
Mhm.
scenes of that as well. And of course, uh, to me, one of the most entertaining parts of this movie was any scene with the virtual panda. Any of them. I
Oh
was
yeah.
glued the whole time that the virtual panda was on the screen, trying to figure out what he was going to say next, what he was going to do next. Oh, it was so great.
It's one of those that'll throw you for a loop because when you see a virtual character that's as happy, and we think of pandas like big dome, fluffy, happy animals, you see this panda on the screen talking to you and like mentally judoing everyone and telling them like, no, I am your authority figure. You will listen to me. It'll throw you for a loop the first or second time that you see it, and yeah, of course the would be bad guy in this movie, he hides behind this because he's not going to get caught. Everything is placed down to a T as far as the specifics. Everything's well thought out. He has everything jumping from VPN to VPN, so they can't find
Oh,
out where
yeah.
the stream's coming from. The cops are talking about midway through the movie. We can't shut this down because we don't know where it's streaming from. It always changes, and it's on a public domain. This that so. Everything's pretty thought out. There's a couple of parts of the movie, we've said on this channel before, well, in real life that wouldn't happen. No, this is exactly how it would happen because you
I
can't
even enjoyed the
track
corny
others.
parts of the movie where after the
Mhm.
kill, they would cut to the guy doing the TMZ style reporting. And I thought that was entertaining.
It was. And then it made me hate them even more. But I'm like, man, this is exactly how it would go. Somebody would
Yeah.
cash in on this for sure and report it. Yeah, of course.
But I mean,
So
it does make you question if people out there really would tune in and vote and all that, and or if they would just take a blind eye to it so that it would go away.
that's a good question. Hopefully we never find out because that'd be tragic. But I think in today's culture where everyone has an opinion and a lot of people are outraged about something, this would certainly gain some steam. And who knows, man? Hopefully it's not like Saw where you think you're watching it live and really it was last week and all these people are dead anyways. I thought about that too. I was like, watch this have a Saw 2 type of ending where this was like 10 days ago and there's just a bunch of
All right,
bodies
so
stacking up
here's my
everywhere.
question for you. Do
Okay.
you think the outcomes of the voting were genuine, or do you think that he used whatever numbers he wanted to put in there.
You know, my heart says that I want to say he swayed them, but I think he's just. I think he's. I think he loves the chaos and the purity of it all. This killer in the movie is very, very intelligent. You can tell he's very well spoken, and he tries to keep his shit together the whole movie because you can tell they're kind of getting on his nerves a little bit because he thinks these people are beneath him. But
it was just going too smoothly, like with how the votes were going to match up with the competitions that would match up with them, and it all just kind of flowed a little too easily. And if you're watching, I think you should have maybe taken a little bit of a note on that. But I mean, still, you were feeling for these people because they knew their life was coming to an end as they were watching this, and that only one of them might escape. So, I mean, those are the kind of movies, like, even in House of Nine, where you got to pick a person and root for them. But, like in those movies, there's always that one character they hand to you at the very beginning to make you root for them. And I don't know if that was the best option in this one.
I would agree. To go back to your question, though, just to get it out there, I feel like the protagonist in this movie definitely, for all the things that he did that's immoral and not fair and, like drugging people and tricking them into a contract, I think this is one of the few things where he stands by the integrity of the game. And I think that's the only reason why I could see him being, because he made a couple of subtle comments like somehow people have fell in love with you, blah, blah, blah. But if he's streaming it like that and he has control over everything and he's got his minions with the panda.
But we'll talk a little bit more about this because I've got some more evidence as to why this game was completely rigged.
Okay.
In a little bit. So we see these other characters just dying off one at a time. Brutal, brutal deaths. What was your favorite game they played in the house?
The game that they played in the house? Or you mean like for the...
Yeah, on the killing floor.
Oh, man. The game itself, I mean, I think it's pretty... I thought it was pretty gnarly. I won't say my favorite death. I'll say that for later. My favorite game that they played as far as like who wins to live... Dude, putting two people in a room with axes and shutting the lights off. That's so nuts to me. That is terrifying. Because you think about like, before you get into an accident or before you're about to get hit, you can kind of brace and whatever. You have no idea where it's coming. What if you think you're going to get hit in the shoulder and somebody cuts your leg off? And it's just like, that to me was insane to watch because I found it to be one of the more realistic ones.
Seeing the professional fighter taking on the one guy, and then after he wins, getting taken on a 3-on-1. I mean, that fight, I did have some issues with it because I talk about this on every single one of these podcasts. Foley artists just go wild during a fight. The sound effects are just super over the top for everything.
Yep.
Every punch is, Yep. And it's like, that's not what fights sound like.
And I'm a big UFC guy too. We knew this guy was going to die. And I called it and said it in the room that I'm sitting in where I watched this a few hours ago. I was like, he'll win, but they're going to send out. It's either going to be like the Mortal Kombat tournament where you do one after the other, or
I thought it was going to be one at a time.
Yeah, same. And I was like, I'm not surprised that this happened, but I did like his character's like acceptance and kind of the middle finger back to the guy goes,
when the one big guy puts his foot on his back and motions for the other guy to kick him right in the face.
That's tough. He was a very... I'm trying to... Let me get his name here so I don't mess this up. Dax. It's not Dax. What was this guy's name? He had a mohawk. He was pretty...
Yeah, he had that Irish accent kick in.
He was of Irish descent. He was pretty fun to have around. Definitely the bro of the bunch. Definitely a hard drinker and
they opened up a little bit more of his story. When he was drinking a little bit, he was talking about how growing up his father just beat him constantly, and that's why he has this tough shell on him, and why he drinks and why he was acting the way he was. But they also showed him the soft side. Was showing like his daughter and things like that. And this is what made this movie kind of special is, these are side characters that are all getting killed off, but they give you a little bit of a reason to care about them. They drop that little carrot to make you think, oh man, I feel for this character in this way. Like even the blonde woman, it wasn't until the very end when she started talking about how she was getting judged for, her appearance rather than anything else about her, and how she got so sick and tired of that. And if if that was, it felt genuine in the movie, and had she presented that, and the game was legit, I mean, that could have got her a lot further than just jiggling her boobies in the DR.
Well, I told Adam to. This is a sidebar. I love what you said there, because a lot of these movies that we've reviewed, we've said that we needed this part to maybe help you invest in characters. Like, take for instance, we both love Friday the 13th, right? There was a remake in like 2009. All of those characters, minus the main one, I've seen those characters 5 million times with a different face in a different movie. But you could have something here you could invest in. That point you just made about the blonde in the movie here, her name is Ula, played by Carolina Benfield. Oh, cool, nice. Carolina with K. I like that. I saw the movie Fall this weekend, and they had this same thing you're talking about in there. The one girl is super crazy and likes to climb a bunch of stuff, and she's a YouTuber. And her friend's just like, could you put the tits away and put the push-up bra down? Just be genuine for 10 seconds. That's what people really want. That's not who you are. And you're right. Even through all of that, like, I was like, oh, cool, they have the Instagram model. She's hot, whatever, that's fine. But you felt genuinely bad for her. You're like, even the hot people have problems. Which sometimes we don't really think about. We're like, oh, you're beautiful. Nobody cares. But she sold it pretty well. The actress Carolina, she did a pretty good job there.
The same thing with the woman who played the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
I thought she did a fantastic job as well. We'll skip a lot of the middle part, and we'll get right to the end here. It comes down to the quiet woman who was a chess expert. She gets brought in for the final.
Which is a nice little hint at the
game.
Movie.
And of course, her game is playing a game of chess against someone, which, super convenient, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, she loses the game, she spins the wheel. And by the way, that wheel, they taunted us with that wheel. They were talking about the rat and some of the other things on there that would be like big deaths. So when you're watching the wheel turn, you're like, are they going to get the rats? Are we going to get to see the brutal death? But instead, we get the pass it on, and goes up to the next lowest voted person, which was the Bachelorette woman. Now, instead of going in there, the main character, the Swedish gentleman, he takes her place. And of course, for his opponent for the duel, they bring her back in, the woman from the Bachelorette, and instead of fighting each other, they decide to take themselves out, leaving the chess expert, the quiet one in the house, to be the winner of the game.
Her name was
now,
Kat, right?
I did not see that coming one bit. Based on the way the movie was presented, I really, really thought the Swedish guy was going to win. Because they were building it up with his ex-wife on the screen and talking a lot about what built him up. Beginning of the movie, he was the one they kind of elaborate on with being number one as far as the disgraced fall from grace, whatever, in whatever magazine he was reading.
Too. Something we left out from the middle, which we could skip a lot of it. I want to say a lot of it's skippable because I don't want anybody watching this to think this movie sucks or something, because I don't think it does. I think we're going to have pretty decent things to say about it. But one of the things was, after everyone's realized after 2 or 3 deaths that, like, oh my God, my chances of dying are very high because only one person's going to win. There's a gift box there, and everyone gets pictures of their families to kind of help motivate them to go on. And he doesn't get one because he doesn't know what his family, like what his parents are doing. They're not alive. They died in a car crash. And I was like, that's really messed up, man.
Well, his picture was him and his ex-wife.
It was terrible. And they added that in there. I think that would happen in real life too. If this was really being broadcast, they would start interviewing people to see what their reactions are, which was very realistic as well. But that was one other thing that I remember from the movie. I was like, man, that's messed up. And he doesn't even have her now. They split. So not only does he have to relive his parents' death and that terrible feeling, but now he's like going through the divorce again. I was like, oh man, that sucks. That was pretty rude.
But this movie had some great misdirections, because just as the kills were going down with the duel, the FBI was closing in on the location where they thought this was all happening. And you thought they were going to get saved, but guess what? Nope. It was a fake transmitter to lead everybody to a bomb, and it was not really a bomb, just a fake. No explosion, just a decoy. So viewers got freaked out there again. So not only did the person that was like teased to win not win, but the saviors that were coming to save didn't save. And then at the very, not the very end, like the secret scenes, but the very, very end of the game, which isn't really part of the game, I guess, but on the outside, they show the winner going up to the guy that set the game going. And she said she's not going to throw any more chess games to him. And it proves that he set this whole thing up for her.
Yeah, standing there, he's playing piano in this big mansion, and you see her walk up, and her hands are behind her back, and I'm like, oh, is this going to give everyone the sweet revenge that they want? She's going to pull out a gun or a knife and slit his throat. Nope. They were partnering the whole time, and you're kind of like, that's the one thing that I actually like about the movie is it didn't give you the typical happy ending.
No, it didn't give you any of the endings that you thought were going to happen. It was. I love that.
They turn and look at you at the very end before the credits roll. And I was like, all right, that was pretty good. You got me there.
You know why they turned and looked at us? Because we watched the whole thing and we enjoyed it. And it was suffering.
Yeah, this was I knew you'd probably pick this one, and I'm glad that you did. I'm glad you
I'd never heard of this.
Picked one before. Well, that's a bonus for me too. That's a personal win for me because I picked one before on this channel and it was terrible. So I'm glad that it worked. But I knew with the Big Brother aspect, man, the more I see this too, I'm gonna check out House of 9 because you told me to. But it also makes me think about Saw 2, broadcasting it to all these cops and watching it as it goes on, and your time's running out. I was like, man, that calls back to a movie that I really enjoyed. I love the first two Saw movies, so it has a nice newer twist on that kind of idea. And the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, is, maybe they could have put a number of actors or actresses for these characters, but I really enjoy the plot of giving a little nugget with each person. And I have the ability to like or dislike a character because they give you just enough. That recipe is spot on for, I'll give you this much of this person and you decide. Because that's kind of what the whole theme of the movie is too. You decide what's going on. So you get a little eclectic group of people in a house, reality style.
But nobody, I don't think people really decided. I think he had that all meticulously set up in certain ways, including the vote count, the games that were going to get played, what was happening on the wheel. I think it was all predetermined. Everything.
Would like to know with that. I agree with you, but I would love to know the thinking of,
I'd like to sit down with the writers and producers and talk about this movie for a little bit because there are some really interesting things to take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if they were to come out with a Funhouse 2, I'd watch it.
Yeah, for sure. It sets you up perfectly to do that at the end too, which sometimes in these movies they do. We've reviewed some that should have a sequel, some that definitely shouldn't. But it's definitely sets you up to have.
So yeah, apparently the motivation though behind this whole game, as it was given to the other people playing, was that today's celebrities aren't really celebrities. They're flash in the pans, people that don't really deserve fame based on their skills, and that people who work on, creating vaccines and working on technology and stuff like that, those are people that deserve credit, and they'll never get it. Because they made sure to stress that the killer was a self-made billionaire.
Yep. The interview, he's, like I said earlier, he's very well spoken, very intelligent. It's a very twisted point of view because he has a great point, but saying that these people should be killed is probably not the right answer, but too late for that. He already made that happen. But yeah, it was an interesting point. I think we all agree to some percentage. That percentage is definitely going to vary, but there's a lot of, because there's so many platforms now, people can just get famous. I'm not even saying for the rich part. Make all the money you want. We've said that on the football podcast a million times. Make as much money as you can, but people get famous and they don't really do a lot because of it. Or how.
Did you find yourself trying to equate some of the celebrities in the house to real life people?
already did that earlier. I was like, imagine if they put like a Kim Kardashian in there.
Because the main character is Kevin Federline.
Why do I know the name?
Married Britney Spears. Backup dancer.
That's right. Yeah.
There are some real parallels to real people in this movie, and some of it's a little too close to home.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like we could probably, if we sat down for 20 minutes, pick out the perfect cast to represent, but.
Oh, yeah. So here's the weird thing about this. This movie on IMDb, you want to guess what grade it had out of 10?
Well, I'm not going to cheat, even though I could scroll up. Out of 10, I'll say like a 6.2.
5.3. I felt like that was extremely low. Now, I get that critics might not enjoy... critics never seem to enjoy horror films unless there's like a really preachy message. And yes, this movie had a message. Yeah, they preached it a little bit at the end, but I never felt like it was overwhelmingly preachy.
No. You know what it is, man? For me, you could look at a movie like this, probably why, this is me speaking for other people, just throw that out there, but you look at this on the surface and it's already kind of predetermined. Like, oh, I already know what this movie's going to be about. Right. No, just jump into it. That's why we're doing this show on this channel, because especially for me, you've seen way more movies than I have, and it's like, all right.
Now, have you seen the Britney Snow movie, Truth or Dare?
No, but I've got to check it out because I've seen it. We talked about Dead Meat earlier
because it's a similar concept. Again, really? I mean, it's a bunch of people invited to a house. They get truth or dared, and they either succeed in their truth or they get eliminated. You know, and it's an interesting movie, and these kind of survival movies where it's I don't know if it's like a hosted game or something like that, or what way to go about that. I don't know if there's a name for the category, but I really enjoy this style of movie.
To me, it goes back to playing that game when I was growing up, like Clue, a little bit. And I know this is kind of far-fetched, but kind of the what's going to happen next, leave you on the edge of your seat, the mystery of it all. That's one of the things that I love the most about movies like this and the ones you just mentioned. That's the selling point for me, for other people, from Kyle to you, saying you need to watch it. I'm going to give this movie a recommend. It's probably going to be one of the higher ratings on the show, but that's for me personally why I liked it. There's a little bit of mystery, and there's also relatability because I know most of those people in that movie at some way, shape, or form in my life. So it was relatable as well to a certain degree.
Absolutely. I found myself enjoying this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I was expecting a run-of-the-mill, kill them off one by one, hero wins, gets revenge, credits roll. That's your typical horror movie of this genre. That's how it works. But this movie offered enough twists and turns, enough characterization to make you care about some of the characters. And honestly, I mean, the acting was very good. The setting and the visuals were quite good, especially the kill with the acid. Whew.
Oh man, that's the most brutal one. Oof. Well, I don't know. The other one was pretty good too. Another Saw reference here, but our Instagram model had a pretty brutal death as well. I'll let you guys check that out for yourself. But I don't know which one of those would be worse because they both last a while. That's the thing.
There's some irony in the fact that she got the rack.
Oh, yeah, that poor wheel was not kind to her.
No, I love how you don't get the parallel, man. What's another word for rack? Come on.
Yeah, no, I got that part. I'm
okay.
I'm thinking about the way he leads you on. It's like every other horror movie. He's like, oh, you can do this. You have a 46.1% chance to pass it on to someone else. Okay. All right, buddy.
Of course, she knew that it was 100% when she spun the wheel after that chess game. So, I mean, that whole game, man, I actually might go back and watch this again sometime soon.
Well, we are hitting 35 minutes here soon on this movie, so we're going to probably wrap it up. But that's exactly what I was going to say. We've talked a lot. We've got sort of a formula and a layout for how we do the show, and at the end, we'll do our rating out of 10 or 100, whichever one you want. And then if we would recommend, and I think we both have said it already, I would recommend this movie to a horror fan.
Absolutely.
I'd recommend this movie to not a horror fan. This isn't going to win any Oscars. It's not going to blow you away.
No.
But if you are into horror, and you, especially if you like movies like Zombieland or something that has a little bit of comedy to it too, there are funny parts in this movie. This one actually has some substance, and I think you have a good, healthy combination of a good plot with substance and good execution by the cast. You get a movie like this. It was a pleasant surprise for me, so I would recommend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually going to give this movie a lot better rating than I thought I was going to at any time. And I don't think I've gone... Well, I think I have one movie higher. But I think I'm going to go 8.5 on this.
Ooh, that's a high one from Adam. That's very good. I'm going to do a 7.4. Not quite three-quarters of the way.
The absolute sweet spot for me. It was my favorite genre of horror. It was done so well. There were twists, great acting. I mean, I can't find a lot to take away from this other than a lot of the preachy things, and I can't tear it apart the way I have been able to a lot of the other movies that we've done. So, in all good faith, I can't drop this down for any reason because I don't have a genuine reason to.
Yeah. I'm with you there too. This is probably, I don't remember all my ratings. We've done quite a few of these now. This is definitely up there. Anything in the 7s for me, you're gonna get it. Like, if I'm watching like The Exorcist for the first time or something, obviously give that in the 9s. Like my favorite horror movies, The Conjuring, that's got a 9 something for me. But this is a step in a direction I haven't seen a lot of, and the underlying theme from you and I here is pleasantly surprised. Would recommend. So if you guys
Absolutely
made it through the review and you're like, man, I'd like to see it for myself, go do it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Hell, Adam might watch it twice. So
I think I'm going to go back and watch it. Maybe not this week, but I'm definitely going to keep it in mind because I've probably watched House of 9 5-6 times, and every time I watch it, I'll pick up on another little detail throughout the way, or notice a little something different from one of the characters. And I feel like this is one of those movies where a lot of little details hidden that might tip the hat as to what's really going on.
Right. Well, I'm super stoked about this movie because I was just trying to go, I had some time off. I was like, damn, I haven't done a movie review with Adam for a little bit. Let's do one. I'm glad that I recommended it. I'm glad that you liked it because
I hate when
we pick something out.
You found one perfect for me. Perfect. This one worked out great. But I do want to thank whoever's been hanging out the whole time over on my Twitch channel. You're awesome, man. Whoever that is, I really appreciate that. Of course, you can go and watch this over on my YouTube channel, which is where you can find all the movie reviews, including all the Fear Street movies, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that one about locusts that was really good, Blood Red Sky. Boy, we've done some pretty sweet movies.
We're getting into the dozens now. I'm pretty excited about it. And I will say this, it's not my channel, but we'll volunteer it. We won't guarantee, but we have done a recommendation on this channel. If you guys have something, especially something newer, something that we kind of...
Yeah, something in the last couple of years.
We'll try to do something that's more relevant so we can get more eyeballs on it. Let's do it. Like, give us a suggestion. We'll definitely look into it.
Absolutely. And thanks again to anyone who likes, shares, comments, whatever. I don't want to be one of those celebrities that ends up in a house, so don't get me too famous now, guys. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out, and stay bloody.